Dirk, many philosophers of religion, theologians, believe that God knows the future. They argue about how he knows the future, but the fact that he does know the future means that whatever God knows today will surely happen in the future, 100% sure, because whatever God knows cannot be wrong. Do you believe the future is so tightly closed, or rather, is the future open?
I would say the future is open. The future is open because creation is a process that is not just a kind of a theater play which follows whatever the writer has written and has prescribed for the actors to do, then it would make no sense. But reality is not just a play that performs the ultimate and perfect plan of the creator, but is a process that is risky as well, and where the future is open in a certain sense. God knows the future, knows what can be known of the future. To a certain extent, we always as believers, we refer to God as the one who also will be the same in the future as he was in the past and as he is now. So God is not, so to say, surprised by the future in a way we human beings often are, but the future is not determined as such. And I would say I often try to reconceptualize or rephrase the traditional term of providence in order that God will provide in the future what is necessary. That is the hope and the belief of Christians and of other believers, but not that he sees everything and everything is determined in a strict way.
Some would say that undermines the true power of God.
I wouldn't say so. What is power then? Power is not the power of a dictator or of tyranny. Power is the power that can transform something from within without raping creation, or forcing it, but just inspiring it so that creation from within creation is able to overcome evil, for example, or to move towards the good and towards fulfillment, although creation will always be a fragment, but this striving, this drive then is in creation.
Many philosophers, though, would say that for God to know the future perfectly does not interfere with our free will, because knowledge of the future does not mean that our will is determined, but rather that God, one way or another, they have different theories, figure out what we will do, but we're still free. So the creation has this flexibility, this tension, but God, in fact, today knows what will happen.
I think that is no solution. I think it's an illusion, rather, because in the end that also has to fall back onto determination, a full determined reality, because if God knows how I'm going to decide or do something, for example, Leibniz's view was like that, then he knows the infinity of reasons that lead to that decision. And these reasons must come from somewhere and are linked with everything else. So, on the whole, God sees the whole picture, he sees everything that is the case, and out of that he can, so to say, infer or calculate each and every decision. And that is, Leibniz thought that is compatible with freedom. I don't think so. Freedom has a contingent moment in it, is something that is not in this way determined by everything that is, but is something that brings also new possibilities into play, opens doors, so to say, into the future, and God accompanies these decisions, but I think they are not determined from the beginning.
There are still ways that you can have God know the future and leave the freedom, and that is to have two different sense of time. that our time is temporal, it's tense, it's going forward, but God sits in an atemporal, timeless, eternal sense, so that he encompasses all of time in one big, massive vision. And so we go on our way, which is real, but God sees it in a different way.
Yeah. Some ideas and thoughts of process philosophy are quite helpful in that respect, because they say that God is not just cannot be described as this one metaphysical highest being, but also is structured in God's self. God has a primordial nature, an eternal nature, something that is unchanged and is always the same. And God has a consequent nature, a nature that refers to reality, goes with reality, is enriched by reality, responds to reality. So I would say it's not either or. God is either eternal, and then he sees the time of creation as one big thing, or one big event, so to say. Or God is timeless, and then he doesn't know about the future and is just so to say only following creation and not guiding and directing it. I would say no. Within God, there are these two focal points: the eternal existence of God, out of which he created everything that is, and the consequent nature of God, with which he reacts and accompanies creation.